Okay, here we go. Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. So good to have all of you guys here tuning in this afternoon. We're really excited to share this success story with you all today. And hopefully you will feel inspired and walk away ready to take your operation to the next level. So welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. As we're waiting for everybody to jump in, I'm just going to give a little bit of introduction about what you can expect today. So today we have a mix of Followup users and the Edge users in attendance. So I'm going to do a quick round of intros for us. My name is Rachel Hughes, and I'm the marketing director here at Followup CRM. And we also have joining us John Lombardo. He's regional sales manager from the Estimating Edge. So hi, John. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Rachel. Nice to be here. Thank you.
And our special guest today is Blaine Sibby. Blaine is the Vice President of Sales and Estimating at Zenith Roofing down in Fort Worth, Texas. So hi, Blaine. How's it going?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. As always, we want to hear from all of you. So if you have any questions throughout the webinar today, please do put them in the chat. Questions can be for Blaine, who is running a very successful company, for myself from Followup, or from John at the Edge. And we'll try to get to as many of those as possible live on the call. But if we can't get to them all, we'll be happy to touch base with you one-on-one afterward. Speaking of the chat, I'm going to go ahead and enable that now. And would love to just hear where you're tuning in from. So if you're there, can you go ahead and just put in the chat where you're tuning in from geographically, and maybe Atlanta, Georgia. Hi, Ron. And maybe I have a controversial question to ask. Okay, is your Christmas tree up already or not? Are you one of those people? So throw in the chat there where you're coming in from: Nashville, Tennessee, Atlanta, Georgia, BK, Tile and Stone, Orange County, New York. So you're up here with me. That's great. That's great. I'm up here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. We have John is down in Florida. And as I mentioned, Blaine is over in Texas. So we're spanning the place here. Very good. Very good. Good. Hi, Chandler. Best Roofing Christmas tree was up November 4th. I love it. I love it. That's awesome. Okay, Bill from Chicago says no, all caps, N-O on the tree. I'm going to start a fight in the chat. We're ready. My tree would be up, but I just haven't had time. I have little kids. So hi, John. You're up here in Galilee, PA. Okay, so good to have you. Well, hey, thanks again. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. If you're just joining, feel free to put where you're coming in from in the chat. And let me just give you a little bit more context about what to expect. So today, first, we're going to hear from Blaine Sibby. If you're just tuning in, Blaine is the VP of Sales and Estimating at Zenith Roofing. And Blaine has been using both of these softwares, Followup and the Edge, for several years. So today we're going to get the whole story about why and how. But before we put Blaine in the hot seat, I wanted to orient us a little bit about around these two softwares, because in the audience today, we have a mixture of people who are familiar with probably one, but probably not familiar with both of these softwares, Followup CRM and the Edge. Followup and the Edge are two best-of-breed technologies, both built for contractors by contractors. And we're linking arms to bring to the construction industry a sales and estimating solution with this partnership. So let me just give a little bit of information about Followup CRM. Followup CRM is a cloud-based software. We were built by contractors for contractors. We have someone here from Best Roofing. Best Roofing is our parent company. And we were built for the construction industry, because the construction industry operates differently from other industries. A lot of generic CRMs don't really serve the needs well enough. So that's why we exist. Some of the main problems that we solve for commercial construction industry companies of all across the industry. So this is roofing, paving, HVAC, metal, electrical engineering. A lot of companies that come to us, they're not able to track anything. Their bids are kind of floating all over the place. And to solve that, we have the project page. This is an interactive list of all the bids, all the projects that are in the pipeline. A lot of times owners have no visibility into the pipeline, so they're left making some blind decisions. And for that, we have the dashboard and a lot of reports. Big jobs just keep getting lost. And for that, we have automated follow-up sequences. So we know that 80% of sales are made between the 7th and 12th follow-up. And because of that, we've built automated follow-up sequences. So you can send personalized emails at a cadence to a contact and set it and forget it, knowing that your name is going to stay at the top of their inbox or in front of them 7, 8, 9, 10 times, increasing your likelihood of winning the bid there. A lot of companies come to us and they have communication chaos. This is true, especially for companies that are growing rapidly. And it can be really hard to manage all the internal communication around certain projects. For that, we've built a feature into our CRM that operates a lot like Slack if you're used to using Slack, or instant messaging with other communication tools. It's called the project comments, and it's a way for everybody on your team to stay hyper connected to the details of a project as it evolves. And finally, a big problem we solve is no accountability within the sales team. So if you're not familiar with Followup CRM, it's more than just a digital phone book or Rolodex. It's also a task management system. And so leaders can set quotas and goals. Those can be customized to each of your sales reps. And then each of those to-dos, those little things, the emails, the calls, the site visit, the takeoff, all those things are set up as a checklist and scheduled, and all of those to-dos scheduled to a calendar to make sure that the little things are getting done, which ends up winning in the end. So those are some of the problems that we solve. The bottom line about Followup CRM, if you're not familiar with it, is that on average, we do see an 18% increase in closing ratio and 10 hours of admin time saved per week. So if you're a math person, here's some math for you. But that is Followup CRM. So now I'm going to turn it over to John. And John, can you just walk us through a little bit about the Edge, please?
Well, thank you very much. Be happy to. Number one, the Edge has been around since 1986, and the program was developed for roofing, and then we branched out to other trades. So obviously we know what problems exist, and we've solved a lot of the problems. So every company has their own set of problems and needs and wishes. But for the most part, the Edge is an all-in-one complete estimating takeoff with excellent database items to sort and control your pricing and your labor productions. And it all feeds to custom reports. And now with the cloud, we make it accessible by anybody. But here are some of the common problems we run into. The Edge saw that a lot of these companies don't have an estimating process established within their organization, especially if they start in a small company and they're building their company to a larger company. They need something robust enough to automate these processes within the estimating department. The other thing is, how do I manage all these different types of bids for these jobs? Because they're always asking for, what if I did this? And what if I wanted an EPDM versus a TPO, or changes that reflect I have to re-estimate this all over again? Well, the software allows all kinds of different options within your bids, and it does it very quickly. And we've certainly created that solution easily. And then there's difficulties to determine how accurate these estimates become, because if you're building multiple bids, there could be multiple mistakes. And well, the Edge provides information in a very great detail, even down to the screw, the nail, tape, etc., which makes it easy to review costs before you turn it into a proposal. And then we found that it's difficulty taking that exact estimate information and getting it into other departments like production, accounting, and etc. And with the cloud, we have reporting, we have different products that take the data and allow you to push it over to other departments like PM, accounting, and et cetera. So that's basically some of the problems that we solved. Rachel?
That's great. Thank you so much. Here's the bottom line about the edge. John, if you want to just explain a little bit more, that'd be great.
Sure. 60%, I think the number is actually higher than this, has been with the edge for 13 years or more. I've had the experience of more than 33 years being here, so I've seen it all, been doing it for a long time. Really, the bottom line is the edge is a great way to detail your estimates. Companies can go back and view the bid in such great detail, and they can make changes without really a lot of effort. The data can be then used for other areas of your business, like in production, accounting, and so forth. So the edge gives all the teams within your company really great confidence, knowing that costs are really right to the nth degree, and it's very accurate.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, John. All right. And that's just a brief overview of these two products. I think now we have enough context, and it's time to hear from Blaine. So I'm going to stop screen sharing here. Can you see all of us? Hopefully you can. Blaine, thank you again for joining us today. We really, really appreciate your time. First up, can you just give us an overview of Zenith as a company?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate you guys inviting me here, and for all the attendees. Just so you guys know, as a disclaimer, I have no interest in either one of these companies. I just really appreciate and truly believe in what they provide, what they've done for me, and Zenith. We have a great relationship with both of them, and they've always been there to support us through whatever we've needed. And I think that just speaks volumes as to the reason why, really I was excited when they invited me on here to begin with. So I just want to let you guys know that. So for Zenith, we're a 43-year-old company. We started out in Dallas back in 1980. We've been primarily commercial roofing and waterproofing for as long as I've been around. We started out as a residential company a long time ago. The owner was in college hauling shingles for 25 cents a bundle. When as he was getting out of college, just said, I could do this. I could be a roofer. And so that's where he landed. And like many of us, hey, you don't choose roofing, roofing chooses you, I think, sometimes. And so where our business model kind of is set up is majority of our business, our bread and butter, is negotiated work. We do some K through 12, some higher education, manufacturing, some industrial, things like that. We do a little bit of residential, not a ton. And for as far as the breakdown of business, we're probably 60% roofing, and then the rest is waterproofing restoration. And when I talk about waterproofing restoration, that's a boatload of things that I won't get into, but we're not doing a ton of new construction. Waterproofing is really what I'm talking about. So that's kind of a little bit of history about us.
Great. Thank you. Could you tell us kind of why you chose to adopt Followup CRM? What was like the issue that Zenith was facing beforehand, and how you sort of came to us, to our way?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. I think when I started, basically our process was fragmented, and we started with the edge first, but the sales problems that you had on the previous screen with the problems and the ones that you solved, that's where it really got down to. It was a fragmented process. And what I mean by that is simply, we were really concerned with getting our opportunities in and out of the door. And then after that, it was really incumbent upon, we were relying on our sales reps to be doing their jobs constantly. So you can imagine when we talk about the accountability for salespeople, what that sort of looked like. It was everything's taken at face value. And, we could only follow up with so much internally because we were constantly hyper-focused, if you will, on what was coming in the door in terms of new opportunities. And then we were really rushing it to get it out of the door. So that way we were meeting sort of internal time requirements that we wanted to do. And I think, and I'll ask the attendees, I mean, you guys can raise your hands or not, sort of a rhetorical question, but how many people here have gone 2 or 3 years before a sale closes? I know that I've had several jobs that the sales cycle is very long. And so to, number one, have the reminders in place that we can then follow up with our clients and touch them on certain projects and just have that conversation, and then log the information. I mean, what a huge benefit. You just can't remember everything because, again, you're either prospecting or you're out there dealing with current jobs, and then the ones that are coming in. How can you remember all those details? And then the same thing goes with the edge, with the multiple bids. How can you revise those different scenarios and whatnot? And both systems make it very easy. So I like to call it the universal truth. And that's what our company uses it for, is that universal truth. If it's not in there, then it really kind of doesn't exist. And because we have to have continuity. And so with the other issues that were coming with that bid process or that sales process is, what if you end up losing somebody, or one of your reps goes away, or your estimator goes away, somebody that has critical pieces of information about either an account or about a potential project. And then what do you do with it if you don't have it in a single system where you can go and actually look into it? And then, you have to assign it to somebody else. I know that we've had our share of people that have just come and gone. And then, what do we do with those accounts? I mean, if we don't have that information, then we're no good. We're starting over from the beginning, and time is money. I mean, so you don't want to have to do that. And oh, by the way, you just look more professional to your clients. If that next person, it's a seamless handoff. Hey, I'm now taking over that account. I know that this is where we were, blah, 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 blah. That's great. It works both ways. So I've had people explain it in different ways internally for my reps that I run. I run a team of 7. I let them know, like, the importance of this is it's here to help you. It's a tool. It's not the end all be all, but it's a very, very important tool. It helps with communication, coordination, and then ultimately, cashing the checks at the end of the day. So those are some of the things that I really have gained from this. And then in addition, Rachel, you asked the question if you're a math person. Well, I'm very much a math person.
Okay.
So, I live and die by the numbers. I'm not so much a Moneyball person, but I've broken down and I've extrapolated, now that we've been using the system for so many years and we have good information. And, here's the disclaimer to this, just like anything else, garbage in, garbage out. If you're actively reinforcing it and staying on top of people to make sure that you have accurate information or accurate data, it becomes usable information on the back end with the number of reports that both of these systems provide. And they have customization that you can do. And it's really a wonderful tool. So that way you can break these things down the way that you want to see it. At the end of the day, process over product, I'm all about the activity for my reps. And I'm almost willing to guarantee them that the sales will come as long as they stay true and dedicated to the process. And that, I've had to have, it's also the tool of, good and bad. You can celebrate people on this and you can sort of hold their feet to the fire. When I see somebody that's, 6 months into their career here potentially, and they are not meeting, not necessarily sales quota. Again, me with the activity and the behaviors quota is much bigger. I use our top reps. We got a guy, share some good news for everybody. I got a guy who's about to sell 8 million this year himself. Wow. You know what I mean? And again, this is not new construction stuff. So these are clients that he spent a long time, really, really building those relationships. And he's done that through a dedicated process. Oh, by the way, no surprise here, he's got the most time logged in there, the most activity. He takes care of business at every single level. And then I show if I have to do my compare and contrast, where's our maybe bottom end rep or reps, where are we at? This is where they're at in terms of time spent and the dedication that they have to their business, their book of business. This is where you might be. I mean, hey, where do we got to go? You know what I mean? And you can go up. So it's
That's
just
fantastic.
all about that. I'm sorry, I'm
No,
droning.
no, don't
Go ahead,
apologize. I was
go
just
ahead.
gonna
Yeah.
say that, you being in leadership, and I'm sure a lot of the audience here is in the same boat. You really can't refine a sales process if you don't have the data to see what is working and what isn't. And so I'm so glad that you brought that up in terms of those to-dos. Hey, is everybody meeting their quotas in these small ways? If not, what do we need to do? Or what do we need to change holistically? So that's fantastic. Thank you. That's great. In general, do you feel like Followup CRM has just helped you win more business and even bid less business, win more, bid less?
I definitely think that. And when you go through the demo and on a project specific page, the way that it's broken down, again, starting with the right information up front, you getting the right client information, and we hold our people accountable on that stuff. Don't make other people's lives harder. So getting that information in there. I know the developers, the original development, Greg Wallach is a big Sandler sales guy, right? And he has, I'm looking at a screen right now, but it's the pre-qualifications, relate and connect, rules of engagement, find problems, money step, decision process. That's Sandler in a nutshell right there. And so those are little tools, again, to kind of help make sure that you're closing the right door or the sub along the way. So that has definitely helped. And we've talked about that with our reps in terms of getting to know faster. So now you're pre-qualifying, you're less just bidding, and you're spending more time on the clients that you want, the right clients, the ones that are the right fit for you, because not everybody can be a right fit.
Right.
I'll tell you that it's another little tidbit is if I show up to a building and their landscaping is terrible, they're probably not going to be spending the money on the roof that needs to be replaced, or at least the money that I'm going to tell them that they need to spend. So it's stuff like that this can help you with. Absolutely. And then following up. I mean, I have several stories. We have it's not a huge percentage every year in, year out, but we have quite a few $1 million that are closed several years after we originally bid it. And it could be because we stay on top of it, we stay in contact with the project, we're following up. Again, we have those notes. So yeah, absolutely, there's a definite yes.
That is great. Thank you so much. John, do you have any edge related questions for Blaine?
Well, a couple. I was just thinking the other day, Blaine, if you had Followup and you had the edge, if they weren't integrated, and if they are integrated, which they are now, what's the advantages if a client was going to do both? So what has it done for you?
That's a great question. So going back to what I had said originally, we actually got the edge first as we were sort of professionalizing and organizing our estimating process. And one of the things that I think that it has just done, and I'll tell you a quick story. Right before we started this, I was downstairs with 2 other estimators, and all of us are working off of one guy's report, but we're reviewing it together, and we all know where to look for the same information. So going back to the time is money thing, I mean, this is the same sheet of music. When you standardize things like this, I'll just say this, if you're doing things off of paper, then one of the hardest things you can do with that is version control. Okay. And I mean that is that there's a copy of this here, and then it gets edited and redistributed, and then this is the wrong one, and things get changed around, and it gets confusing. It gets hard to control that information the right way. And by standardizing it through the edge and getting those reports that we get back, we know what we're looking at, we know what we're looking for. We're able to ask questions, get the answers timely, and it's phenomenal. And while the edge, when we talk about some of the issues that we had were when we were so focused on getting bids out, and we're knocking them out, and we're also doing it, whether it's scratch paper or on a spreadsheet or something like that. Again, the version controls not as good when you're doing that stuff. Also, we would then, during that long sales cycle, we would then get a contract and we'd hand it off to operations. And it's like, now we have to totally deconstruct this thing. If we did this, quick, fast, and in a hurry on a piece of loose leaf or something, like, oh, here's my bid, there's
Right.
labor, material, and equipment, and hand that off. Well, how many man hours do you have? How many rolls of this do you have? How much adhesive do you have? And all these things are it takes so much time on the back end, and not just the time. How about human capital, right? People today, they're hypersensitive to, like, not wanting they want things fast, and that includes our own employees. So if you're handing them this garbage and then saying, go figure this out, that's not the way to do it. It's frustrating. You don't want to create frustration. The job, doing the work is hard enough. Pleasing the client and staying on top of it is hard enough. Don't make it harder by dumping stuff on your own people and trying to, like I said, put the square peg in the round hole. And that's sort of what that's like at the end of the day. But yeah, I would say that those are the things that we really benefited on. And then if I could comment on just the ease of the integration, I love it. Starting with the chronology of, you get your lead or opportunity in, you fill that out under a new project, and then that it's going to go into your edge. It's as simple as clicking a button. And then all of that information transitions over into the edge, and you have your project name, you have your project number, and then you can go, after you've completed your bid and you check it back in, there's a drop down menu, and you can have any one of your scenarios. So one of the problems that John was talking about is having multiple bids. And we come across that, as I'm sure everybody does, like, hey, give me an option for this, or, give me a bid for TPO, give me a bid for mod bid, give me a tear off versus a recover, give me a coating. And so you can have all that done in different scenarios and keep it very well organized. And then it's very easy to just kind of just swap them out, change the happies to glad in the CRM, and now you have that, and you can track through job costing, you got your gross margin. I mean, this whole, I love these systems so much that I took 2 hours to present it to the leadership of the company, and like taking the time to make them understand, like, this is what, your our file cabinet filled with paper files, which I'm fine with paper, I'm not against it, is now, like, it's now this, and it's a screenshot of our project page. You know what I mean? Like that, everything lives and dies in here. It's awesome. Then the same thing with the edge. I can't speak enough about it. I mean, you guys obviously picked somebody who's enthusiastic to both systems.
And we're so thankful.
Yeah. I mean, hey, listen, we have increased business couple 100%, you know what I mean? And since that, and when we're continuing to go up, and as we onboard people. And the other thing that I'll say to both companies, which is great, is always rolling out, communicating new training, new features, the support features for both of you guys. Both of the companies are outstanding. The training, I can't speak enough to that, because anybody who's trying to run a business or run a team or anything like that, you can't be the sole source you can't be the help desk.
Right. You can't be the IT guy as well. Yeah.
People want to come to me because I know it and I love him and I work with them. Like, how do I do this? And I'm like, listen, there is a help button on
Go ask Rachel.
Yeah, people, they will answer and they will help you, I promise.
Yeah.
Teach somebody to fish, right? And and they're starting to feed themselves. But no, that's pretty much what I got on that, unless there's any other questions. I mean,
Yeah.
I hope this
John,
was
did you have
beneficial.
anything else?
No,
wanted
he's covered everything from A to Z as far as I can tell, right?
Yeah,
Thank you,
great.
Lynn.
Hey, and anybody who's in attendance, if you have any questions, please put them here in the chat. We'll be happy to take them. Absolutely. Yep, throw those in. And while we do that, I'm glad you mentioned the ease of the actual integration itself. I want to go ahead and share my screen a little bit and just show what it looks like. Can you guys see this slide here?
Mhm.
Okay, great. So in case you're not familiar with one or the other of these products, I just want to give you a 30,000 foot view of everything that Blaine's been talking about. And thank you so much. We really, really appreciate that. This is what it looks like. This is what Followup CRM looks like if you're not familiar. So this is a project page. This is every bid, every opportunity, every project that comes in has its own full page that looks like this. And you can put all of the information here, your pre-qualifications, your project data here, and these are your sales activities or all those to-dos we talked about. And again, everything you see in black is customizable. So whatever your process currently is, we onboard with you to make sure that everything you're used to making sure happens is in here in black for you. So all of this is customizable. But like Blaine said, sometimes that sales cycle is very, very long. And so after doing all of these things, getting all of your information in, once you're ready to actually bid and create a bid, all you have to do is click this button right here that says new bid, the edge. What you'll do then is hop over to the edge. So this is a screenshot of the edge. And John, well, you're welcome to interrupt me if you have anything to say about this page, but this is the system in which you create super, super accurate estimates for each project. And one thing that's great about this integration is, Blaine mentioned it as well, it allows for multiple scenarios. So clients, of course, even myself as a residential and property owner, you know, I want to know 5 different options on something because I want to save the most money and I want to, you know, get the most out of it. And so you're able to create that here. And then when you go back into Followup, you see this module populate on that page, which allows you to select if you have 5 different options that you're giving the picky homeowner like me right here. And all of these numbers will populate correctly. So you're able to see in your CRM system where your people are already working, true live data, and that allows you to make better decisions. And when we can pin dollars like this to contacts, what it allows us to do is make decisions about what projects are actually profitable. You know, I heard a statistic recently, and Blaine, you can tell me if this sounds true to you or not. I'm in tech, you're actually in construction, but a lot of construction projects are only operating with a 5% profit margin. And so when things are narrow, it's important that you get these really detailed numbers in like this. And so when you're able to track all of that in your CRM, you're able to see what projects are profitable, how can we do more of them, and which ones really aren't profitable or worth our time. So again, that's the integration in 3 easy steps in case you're not familiar. And finally, I just wanted to mention just a couple of our latest features. And I'll let John do that too, but we have a calendar sync feature that if you're an Outlook user or a Gmail user and you live and die by your calendar, we now sync to-dos right to those calendars. So if you find that your sales people are missing some deadlines, this is a great way, another tool to give them to make sure that they're staying on top of things are getting done, they're getting the reminders that they're used to getting. All right there in their calendar. I already talked about automated follow-up sequences, so I won't go through that again. But hey, it's Q4. Let me mention some custom reports. I'm sure everybody is working hard to get their end of year reports in. We have tons and tons of reports available. Blaine, did you have something you wanted to mention about any of that?
Just as you guys were talking about features, you know, the add-in to Outlook, you know, we use Outlook, has been extremely beneficial for us, I think, because it's as simple as you download the add-in and then you can hit that button on an email. So if a client emails you a contract, or you just need to synchronize that correspondence, that thread, it's really as simple as a quick, you click it, it opens up on the side of your screen, you search for the project quickly, and then you hit update or sync, and you can synchronize documents there, which is nice. Again, it makes it just the flow of information very easy. And it's, you know, it's an awesome feature.
I'm really glad you mentioned that. Yeah, that's the Outlook add-in or Outlook plugin. Google hasn't given us the opportunity to build that for them yet, though. If you're an Outlook user, yeah, you can have the Outlook plugin right next to your email. A lot of people use this for bid invitations, right? So they get a bid invitation into their email, and every single part of the correspondence goes right into the CRM. And that helps with the passing of information, right? So all the emails stay in one place. If you have turnover in your company and their email account is gone, you don't lose all of that information on an account that is still open. So I had forgotten to mention that. Thank you so much, Blaine. And
Can I add one more on for John, that the database has been very, now that for us, when I know I talked about really saving time on the back end, the database does in fact save a lot of time on the front end. And that is, if you're bidding for a certain client that you already know what systems they already use, or manufacturers, and however it is that they set it up. I know that there's a lot of consulting companies and whatnot that write specs, and they lean towards certain systems. You can build that specification out in the edge, and now it's in your database with all of the right components, and you just update pricing and modify maybe your production rates based on the job. And I mean, you can knock these things out and very quickly because of that feature right then and there. And so that's outstanding when you're able to kind of just recreate and plug and play.
That's great. Thank you. John, do you want to run through a couple of these for us?
Well, since we're here with Blaine, we have roofing specific items. Like you said, the roofing database has most of the big manufacturers already built in there. So if you're a new customer, all that stuff gets populated automatically with your order. So you could do any kind of roof system ready to go. You can start estimating literally the same day you get it. If you're one of those enthusiasts about doing a taper design on your own instead of having somebody else do it for you and you pay for that, we do have a tapered insulation module. It's really simple to use. Also with the panel layout, it's not for everybody, but if you have a department that wants all the panel cut lists created for them to cut the panels, either on site or in the shop fab building, we have a program to make that happen. With all that said, when you're done with your project, if Blaine sells it, you can send it off to Edge on Site, which now takes it to the project management side of things, so they can track and let Blaine know how much tear off, how much put back, how much gravel stop and gutters were done that day. So you can literally see the progression of the job being tracked and communicated to the office on a weekly, daily basis. Since we're now part of Foundation Accounting, we have an integration to their accounting for job cost budgets automatically, just with a click of a button, and obviously integration with Followup CRM. Both of those integrations are very easy to use. Those are just some of the things that we're providing along with others. But anyway, that's it, Rachel and Blaine.
That's great. That's great. We did have one question come through on the Q&A. Ryan was asking if we're going to be showing a demo of either software today. I just sent your way, Ryan, the link to book a demo. We're not going to show one necessarily live here, but we would love to have you guys book one. In fact, let me scroll over to the next screen here. You can book a demo here anytime. I think this orange button is live. you can do that, or I threw the link in the chat. Can you guys see that link? If not, I think I just based on the tech permissions here, I think I sent the link to John and Blaine. So if either of you want to throw that in the chat too, that'd be helpful. But either way, you can either book straight through this orange button right now, right here, or I will be sending a webinar recap email to everybody who registered. So you can rewatch this recording, you can send it to someone, and that will also have a link to book a demo. So please do book a demo with us or with the Edge, and we can do a demo of the integration. We can do a demo of one or either product. I'm pointing in the right direction if with all of that. So at this point, I'd love to open up the floor for any Q&A. Feel free to type a question into the chat or into the Q&A, either one, and we'd be happy to answer. Of course, they can be for Blaine about his business down in Fort Worth, or if you have a follow-up related question, I'll take it, or an Edge question can go to John. So feel free to throw those in if you have any.
I'd like to throw a question out there if I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, with me being on the Edge side, if I was a customer, can they start with Followup and then migrate and add the Edge later, or do they have to do the Edge first and then Followup? What's the sequence of?
Yeah, it can go either way. So we have we've actually seen both. Like Blaine was saying, he actually started with the Edge first. We have a number of customers that have started with Followup first, and then they have onboarded with the Edge, and then we have worked with them to turn their integration on, which is, you know, a 10-minute process, not hard at all. So it can go both ways for sure. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? All right. Well, if that's all today, I just want to thank everybody for joining us. Thank you so much, Blaine. We really appreciate you being here. Just fantastic perspective and on running a company and also implementing 2 softwares and just leveling up. We really, really appreciate you being with us.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Blaine. Thank you.
And everybody just keep an eye on your inbox. Like I said, I'll be sending out a recap email with a recording, and do feel free to reach out if you have any additional questions or if you'd like to know more information about one or either of these products. And I hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Great.
See you later.
Rachel gone? Oh.